When are we going live? There. Now we're going live. Awesome. Thank you everybody for joining us today. I'm going to be going over all of the charts today. This is Monday in May the 5th, and it's Metal Monday in my world. So after I'm done market analysis, I'll be diving into headphone land, listening to metal music while I get a bunch of productivity done. So if anybody wants to join me with that, they can hang out in our little hangout room after. But okay, so let's talk about silver and gold first. We talked about this last week, how silver had this big dip, big test coming down into that $28 range. Since that time, it's been climbing back up, a little bit of a retracement here. I would suspect that since this high here did not beat out the previous high, that likely will be retesting this long-term trend line. That long-term trend line should provide us support where we can create a new high, maybe up in this area around the $36 range. That'd be awesome, because still silver is less than 1% the price of gold. So if you're thinking about getting some silver, you might want to do that, because silver should be, by the end of this charade that everybody is going along with the financial system, monetary system, when this is all done, silver should be about 1/10 the price of gold. So, imagine if over the next little while your $32 ounces of silver ended up being $300. Wouldn't that be something? And on that note, let's talk about gold for a second. After that all-time high that formed a couple weeks ago, on the 22nd of April, we've seen this retracement come back and fairly deep. In fact, finding support, it looks like at the $3,200 level. We can see that this little bit of a retracement coming back up again is finding some resistance at the 33 level. So if we are not able to break through this resistance, we may see another low coming down to find some support around the 3150 level. That'd be a great place to buy, as that support would likely give it enough of a boost for it to come back up over top of the all-time high. That being said, this is also very potentially support. And if we were to break above that, I would expect not only would we get up higher, maybe in the 36 to 3700 range, but we would come back down and find a retracement, find support again at this previous all-time high, just shy of $3,500 US. Nikkei, this is our Japanese markets. Right now you can see that they are continuing to climb up. They've got a ways to go. I've been saying for a while, we got to get back above this area here. This high needs to be beat. So right now we see it inching up slowly but surely. It's only about, let's see here, it's only about 2.83% up to this previous high. That would be the best for it to get above that, and then we would watch for the next area to come back up, possibly to these highs here. Now, just be mindful that this low that occurred back in August of last year, nothing was able to recuperate where it was at its all-time high just prior to that in July. So this drop here signifies very, very weak, a lot of weakness in the market. And the fact that the rally did not even come close to coming back to that all-time high, it got denied and came back even lower than it did in August. Not by much, but that's all that matters. The failing to get above this resistance here is going to result in another big drop. And we can expect that. We can expect that drop to likely, let's go to the weekly chart here and see where we can find the next support. Yeah, you can see these two drops here. That was this support here. Well, if it drops again, we'll likely be coming down to meet this area here, where we can see the chart showed some resistance all the way from February 2018 for 1,000 days. That was basically the resistance showing up there. So the next drop likely to bring us down to 2,300 or 23,000 rather, right from where we are right now. That's a 37% drop. That's like crypto level daily action. Let's move on. US 30 hasn't formed the same type of price action as we see with the Japanese markets, and that's just because, well, ever since World War II, Japan's economy was under the thumb of the American elite, and of course by the will of the people. But we won't go there today. So what we see right now happening, I'm going to go to the 4-hour charts with a little bit more detail here. We can see that we are challenging this this resistance here, challenging it quite well, looking to challenge the next pivot point around this 41.70 or 41.7 level. It would be awesome if it got above this one here at 42.8. That's where we would need to see. Yeah, this here is where we were 39 days ago. That's where we would need to be in order to see an improvement and even hope to reach the all-time high. I believe, just because, well, it's either going to be one of two things. Either they go ahead and just ramp up the printers to make this look good, or they are not able to continue printing and they will be denied that resistance, likely to liquidate yet again. But we all know that whenever that occurs, like what happened in February of 2020 and what happened here over the last month, though the people that have the money to lose in this price action, the people that have the most to lose, they are simply transferring the form of their wealth. That's all. They're not selling out, they're not losing money. They simply transfer out up in here, and they make sure that while the price is going down, they're bringing all of that money into the next phase of their strategy. And knowing that this is a monetary reset where the financial systems of the world are being reset, I believe that what we're going to see is this deliberate collapse of the markets, specifically to get the people to panic so that they beg the government for their solution. And that's just because that's how America does things. It's their modus operandi for over 100 years. So there's no reason why they would stop. It's been working for them so far. The only reason they might stop is if the people say, yeah, we're abolishing you. And it's kind of what we hope. Next, we've got the Global 30 Index on cryptocurrencies. This is inclusive of Bitcoin. I'm going to grab this one here. This index here excludes Bitcoin and Ethereum, so we get a better idea of what the altcoins are doing. As we can see, we've been on this downward trend for a while, but at the same time, it was here. We got this outer trend here, and then we have an inner trend occurring here. This inner trend, just got wiped out there on the 21st of April. And since that time, we've been maintaining support above this level here, this 795-ish. And that's market cap. So here, if we come back down, we may retest this this trend line here that we've been seeing form since January, or just grab another a line of support here. We can see that in the past we're not very far above this support, so we may see a dip down, finding support before making the next movement up. For me to know that we have actually created a new trend going up, I do need to see the price come above this high that was formed in March at the end of March of this year. Right now, we're having a difficult time getting above that. So technically, there's no reversal of trend until that gets beat out. But things are looking positive, especially with this breakout. This is a nice clean breakout from this trend line here. So one more little retracement coming back here would give us the support we need to challenge the next pivot point around that $930 billion mark. Next, being the cryptos here, we can see a similar pattern. This is inclusive of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we have the same kind of pattern. Bitcoin itself is forming up some nice highs here. It looks like we got, yes, we did. We in fact did get above this resistance that we saw at around that $92,000 to $93,000 level. Expertly went up to 97,000 even, finding some support right now at 94,000 it seems. Be mindful that this jump up was actually pretty abrupt. We may find another test of the $88,000 level simply because that provided some significant resistance here. That being said, with the amount of money that is coming in already and has been for a year, we're still seeing dollar cost averaging being completed by the mega corporations such as MicroStrategy. We've got MicroStrategy in particular. They added another 500 million last week in Bitcoin. So with the increased investment coming in, it's positive for an upward tick, and I believe that that's why we're seeing more bullish price action here over the last week in Bitcoin. Ethereum also has gotten a little bit of a boost here, but we can see that we've got a little bit to go before we can beat out that high that we had in March. And of course, we can expect this trend line here to provide some resistance as time goes on. So it would be interesting to see whether or not this comes up and touches the line before it shows resistance at this level. That would be advantageous that would be a positive signal for a bull run. But at the same time, this may just end up slowly rising and meeting the line here at this timeline, or at the same level that previous high was. That's a very common thing to see occur when you see resistance that's far away from a trend line. That trend line and that resistance sometimes meet up. So we would see something similar to this price action where it comes up and hits that line at that intersection of where it was back here. Next, got Ripple. Ripple is also seeing a similar price pattern where we need to see it rise above the high that we experienced in March. But we can see that the highs are getting higher, lows are getting higher. So that's positive. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not this support that we're at right now holds. If it doesn't, we can probably see it. We'll probably see it come back down and find support maybe at these areas here. But it's also in position that these highs here are not outside of the realm. Right now, the price action is not outside of the realm of possibility, where it can continue finding the next resistance point, the next pivot point, which is up about 15% from where we are right now. Cardano, similarly, needs to get above that high that we saw in March, but it is showing some strength here. I have gone ahead, opened up another position. We just hit this support line right here, 66 cents. And so I had a new position take into effect here, and I've got positions continuing downwards, getting larger down to this support right here. So if it continues to go down, my position will get larger, as that will give me more profit as we come back up. But even if it doesn't right now and it bounces off of this, I will be selling at this R5. This is a very crucial high resistance line in the past. And so this level at 77.5 cents US is where I'm going to be making a larger sell, and it will be repositioning myself likely on the support that this resistance is currently experiencing. Doge, again, another pattern very similar. We got to get past this high from March. It's encouraging to see that this high here has beat out the little pullback that we saw in the beginning of April. But it's technically inconclusive, because if we take this high here, this one, there it is. If we take this high here and this low, and we draw a box, we can see that we haven't beat out either one of those. And so technically, on a longer time frame, let's go to the daily chart, we can see that we're actually consolidating, where the highs and the lows are getting closer together. So whenever that occurs, we have to be mindful that we don't know which direction it's going to go. Not that we ever do, but that the likelihood, our success rate goes down when we are in consolidation. And so I like to see an exit where that price action leaves this range and finds support either above or resistance below, so that we can make a determination on which direction it's going. So that's Doge. I don't need this. Here we go. Next, injective token. Very similar price action as what we see with Doge. However, it's not having to. Oh yeah, no, it's the same thing. Same thing. The high that we had in March there needs to be beat, and it's been consolidating, technically consolidating again ever since this range here. I like the fact that we've got 3 points here on this support. So this line here that we're at, the price action right now is literally bouncing off of this line at the moment. But you can see that here, here, and again here, they've all been tempting this support. Whenever we see 3 tests of support, that's very encouraging for price action to continue its upward climb. And the fact that this previous high from May 1st did beat out the high from April 25th. Again, positive indication that we are in a reversal. Regardless of how positive it is though, until we get above this pivot point here, right now that price is this price point here at $11.25, that's going to provide some resistance. I'm going to go ahead and just nudge it down a little bit so that it's at the top of the high that we saw in March. But that this line here, once we get above that, that's when we know that, okay, we've actually officially have a reversal. This was nice to see when the price action broke out of the downward trend line here, but that's not enough. We need to see it actually get outside the previous high that we saw on 25th before we have confirmation. Things are looking good though. Algorand. This one here actually did beat out the high that we had in March, and so that's a positive sign. We will see, especially some of the larger cap coins, start to show some favor with themselves. So this one in particular, because of its market cap, it's got a little bit more volume coming in at this time. And so this retracement, finding support here, we can expect that to now start to climb up. Again, if we do see a little bit of a panic sell occur because of the instability that's still showing up within the cryptocurrency world, that insecurity may translate into some panic selling where people need some cash quick because they don't like what's happening in the economy. That would drive the price down a little bit more. But either way, definitely a good time to buy right now. Algorand, yeah, I remember Algorand is... They're talking about how anything under $1 is on sale. BitTensor, this one has been doing very well over the last little while. We can see that although it hasn't beat out the previous high that was formed in February, we have beat out that little high that we saw in March. And in fact, the price action has been showing the greatest promise in this asset amongst all of the infrastructure coins, with a 121% increase since the low that was experienced on the 7th of April. So in the last month, it's been great growth in BitTensor. It's still not at the level that it was when I got started in June. I don't think, maybe just double check here. Yeah, in June, it's actually right around where it was then. So great spot right now. But I would expect to see another retracement coming back down. This nice big jump up here is showing a little bit of weakness. And so I would expect some support to be found around that $3.20 or $320, that marker there, before challenging the next one up to $480 or so. But amazing price pattern here. If we zoom out here, I'm going to go to the weekly chart so we can see, just look at how it's just been ranging ever since it got started. It's just been ranging back and forth. It just finished the lower end of the range, likely to come up here and find some resistance. Yet another 112% growth. For anybody that came in on down here where it was nice and low, That's a 334% increase that you'll receive just by coming back to the all-time high. And from the all-time high, it's expected to 5x yet again. So that's a great, that one there played out very well. Ooh, look at that. We've got, oh, that's right. This is Mantra DAO that experienced the big drop, 92%, 95% loss in value, and it's been continuing to drop ever since. Probably going to be taking this one off of the watch list just because whenever we see that kind of thing, the likelihood of it coming back is pretty low. If it was going to, it would have done something similar to what we've seen with some of the other assets that have been performing well. And we'll get into those next. Optimism. We can see this long-term trend line here has been beat, but it looks like we might be coming back to retest it one more time, which it may even coincide with this low here. Think about it. If we if this, here we go. If this comes back down and rests on this line, that would coincide with that low that we had here. So be mindful of that. But another, I'd be dollar cost averaging my way down, that's for sure. And I know that, it was just a couple days ago. One of our members, Denise, she went and bought some more Optimism. Fetch AI performing very well. Looks like it's found some, it's found that resistance point back from February with good strength. And in fact, this is a positive looking chart. Let's go to the daily. Yeah, very positive look on this chart. Might be coming back down to test this here. We can see that we are up against the long-term trend line right now. So there's expected to be some resistance. But look at how close this support is. Support's not far. So if the price were to come back down again, I would expect it to find support around 54 cents and continuing upwards from there. Finding probably next point of resistance is going to be around that $1.20 mark. Woo, finding new lows on a regular basis. We just found itself some resistance. I wouldn't expect it to change pattern. The only way that I'd be watching for a change in pattern would be if we get back above the previous high. This continued drop, does it mean that I feel like it's a dead project? Not at all. The community is still active. I think what we're just seeing here is a continued delay of the altcoin season and people just losing interest. This happens all the time. Bet your boots, once this price action gets back above this resistance around that 15-16 cent mark, it's going to revitalize a lot of people. And so then a lot of people that left, they'll be coming back in at that time, simply to appreciate the returns as we go into alt season, and the volume that gets traded on the Woo network will definitely be going up. Polygon/Modic showed some good push down there from the bears. Right now, the bears are definitely winning at the moment. We could see another low coming. Yeah, we could see another low here in Polygon. Wouldn't be outside the realm. It's not outside the realm of possibility. However, we do see that this green here came into play and actually beat out the previous high. So the fact that it beat out the previous high is a positive sign for a bullish reversal. We would need to see it come up a little bit higher. I would say above this line here before we could, talk about looking to get up to this resistance line here, that trend line, then finding that support and then taking off. But we would need to see it get above that part first. If it wouldn't be able to, then we will likely see it come back down and hopefully find support here at this, there it is, at this level here. This is going to be the support going forward, especially with this high that just got hit. This here now becomes support officially. Desync. Dribbling like a basketball, even consolidating here over the last little while. We can see that this box has been forming and the highs and lows are not getting beat. I love the fact that it's so low. I'm definitely stocking up on Destra this week. 0 by 0, same idea. In fact, if I remember correctly, 0 by 0, yeah, here's June 2024. This is the area where I purchased. So right now, my 0 by 0 is down 70%. Am I phased by that? Not at all. Because I think to myself, if I go ahead and put in the same amount that I bought over here, right? I bought middle June. Well, now what I've purchased, say I can't remember how much it was, but just for easy number's sake, let's put 1,000. I'm down to $300. But if I take $300 right now and add it to this position, I will double my holdings. What does that mean? It means that I will make even more money coming back up here. Look at that, 210% coming back to the spot I started. So that second deposit that I make, simply to double my holdings, would pay for all of my losses going forward. So very, very common strategy, and I'll be happy to show you guys how I do that. But that's a great asset in position for another buy. Oh, Maureen made it. All right, next. Arcade. This is gaming coin. This one here is dribbling like a basketball as well. All-time lows. Less than 1 cent per coin right now. Coming back to where I would expect to see some resistance is a 315% growth. Makes me feel really good about making a purchase on this one. The gaming coins, they're not going to see the massive growth though until later on in the year. I would actually anticipate Christmas being where we see gaming coins take off, simply because we're going to be experiencing a huge migration of more people going online this year. And by Christmas time, video games will be a very common gift. And so I believe that it'll be later this year that we see the massive growth that's capable. But I mean, take a look at this. Even if it just comes back to the all-time high, that's a 2,400% growth. 2,400%. You want to 20x your money? Buy some ARK. PAL. PAL has been around a little bit longer than ARK, and so it has a little bit more price action. We can see that it's actually healthier. It's not dribbling down like a basketball. PAL has actually had a bad rap in the past. In fact, if we go back down memory lane, November 13th is when it actually fell out of the sky. I think it dropped 70% in value in that one day, 76% valued in that one day. I bought around that 13-cent mark right in here. And so I'm just below that price point right now. Don't know that I'll add more to this position or not, but PAL definitely is in a good position to come back to its all-time high. We would want to see, in order to know that we are fully in a transition here, I would want to see the algorithm start painting these candles a little bit green, and that would mean the price action needs to be above this 18-cent mark right now. So yeah, I got a couple, one pivot point for sure to burst through. And if it gets that, then I would expect it to come and challenge these 43 cents, that 43-cent range. Right now, coming back to the all-time high would give us a 600% return on PAL. That's a good setup. WorldCoin. This one here just finished finding a new low, and we can see that the high that just got bumped up here did beat out the previous high, but this is a significant resistance point. We can see that in the past it's provided support, lots of price action around this location here. So the fact that it didn't even meet that tells me that that could see some weakness. Again, being a gaming coin, I don't expect this to take off anytime soon, at least not right away. We'll have to wait a little bit longer to see how this pans out. But I tell you what, if it goes down below where we were before, I'll back the truck up. It just means it's on sale. Neural AI. This one here is smaller market cap, and also a smaller project, newer project as well. Right now, showing a little bit of resistance underneath the $3.84 mark. But again, I wouldn't be too concerned about this one here. In particular, this asset is, in particular, this asset is kind of at the tip of the spear in this technology. And so we're going to see a lot of this, this movement towards having AI be preemptive in what being preemptively helpful. That's the focus for this particular project. And I would like to see more companies come forward and provide a little bit more competition in that realm. Fetch AI is one of the larger players in the game. And what I like about Fetch, we talked about it earlier. What I like about Fetch is that the companies that are a part of this, they've had developers in the scene since the 80s. And these developers recognize a lot of the risks and the concerns that exist within the AI in the AI ecosystem, but they hold to the same philosophy that they had when they started, and that is privatize your data. You don't have to worry about what AI can or cannot do if the data starts becoming more privatized. And so with Fetch, developing these AGIs, which are called automatic general intelligence, along with companies like Neural AI, where they are looking to have AI be more preemptively helpful. That's all it is. I got my own things I want to talk about when it comes to AI, but I'll probably do that in the NextGen Merchants Mastermind instead of the live market analysis. But folks, just remember that if you are feeling fear around something like a technology, it's likely because you're falling for some programming. You know, our current power structures that would be, if they had everything going for them, they love it when they can get us to be fearful, because they know that if they can instill a little bit of fear with their power of language, language arts, I call it. If they are able to do that, they know that you won't be able to think, because when fear takes over the amygdala, it shuts down the rest of the brain. You actually lose the ability to reason. And so if you are feeling concerned about AI and what it's capable of doing, I want to reassure you that it is neither intelligent nor capable of doing what they say it can do. That's why this is an AI bubble. It can't do all the things that we're scared it can do. Here's how you know that it's not that smart. You see, an intelligent machine would be able to go through my 200 gigabytes of photos and organize them. Right now, it's all in one folder. And I've been thinking for years, I should probably go through and organize all my photos. But I'm like, why would I sit in front of the computer and just push buttons all day long? Why don't I get a computer to push those buttons for me? Well, that would be nice if there was such a computer capable of doing that. But AI isn't capable of doing that because it's not intelligent yet. It's kind of like, we call the tissue paper that we get in the little tiny box, right? We call it something. It's become a household name, Kleenex. But you're actually not buying Kleenex. You're buying tissue paper that's in a little tiny box, right? You're not buying Kleenex. People are thinking that they're buying AI, but it's just a household name. This is not intelligent. It's not even artificially intelligent. So there are no fears. And all we're watching play out right now is the playing field of these companies. And what we're going to witness is that the companies that have the strongest foundations, the ones that have been it the longest, the ones who are bringing the most knowledge to the table, they're going to be the ones that outlast this bubble. And I can tell you right now that Fetch in particular, I would play at with higher risk than I would Neural AI. I think neural AI is going to do well. There's no question. But I'm unsure of its background. How far back does it go? Are the developers still developing from the 80s with the same mindset and philosophies that they started with? Are they recognizing that it's not that intelligent? Are they are they level-headed about this, or are they just trying to make a quick buck? We don't know. And we won't know till all this is all over. But the reason I talk about this is because the first this first bubble that we see is going to be centered around this technology that they call AI. And they need to do it because of how much the big companies, the technocrats, have invested in the technology. They need the return. And the only way that America has ever been able to bring their investors a wild profit has been when they go to war. And given the fact that this is a great reset where we are going into a very digital realm, where most of humanity rather is going into a very digital realm, it's important. It's important that we position ourselves so that we can so that we can benefit from this. And oh yeah, back to the war. I think that we're getting very close. I would say that by the summertime there will be some sort of a crisis that demands that America goes to war in this digital realm. You know, it's going to be a war for the best AI type thing. And yeah, I think that that's going to set things off, and we're all definitely going to profit from it, folks. It's just the way that's the way it is. The way that the monetary system is, until people finally clue in that it's fraudulent, this is how it's done. You position your money in the direction that it's going to go. And we know that this is not going to be a recession, but rather a transition. And yeah, position yourselves wisely, knowing what you're getting yourself into. I'm not buying AI. It doesn't exist. Again, it's not intelligent at all. If it was intelligent, then it would do a lot of the things that I have been putting off for the last 8 years, 10 years on my computer. But it can't even organize a file folder yet. So you know, let's not be too scared of it. Beam right now also consolidating. Highs and lows are not getting higher or lower. And so that means that we don't really know what's going to happen. I would expect, though, that it will follow, especially the price pattern that we notice in Ethereum. So as Ethereum grows, which it is, we'll see this rally. Farcana, it's not even dribbling like a basketball at all. It is falling out of the sky, which is great because I already have some. I'm definitely down. I mean, I bought mid-June, so what? I'm probably down 80%, 95%. So my investment's down 95%. Am I worried about it? No, because I can double. If I just go ahead, put in another, like if I double my position, which isn't going to cost me very much, it's only going to cost me 5 cents on the dollar to double my position, I will make that money back when it comes back to the price point that I purchased. Why is it down? Because it's a gaming coin. This one's gonna be way later in the cycle. Was it a mistake for me to buy here? No, because I've showed you guys the charts of what's happened in the past. You can buy at what the chart tells you is a terrible time and still wildly profit, because that's the nature of this digital world that we're in. Superverse showing great strength here at this 50-cent line. I'm really glad about that. We would need to see it come up above this 80-cent point, the 80-cent price mark, just because I would want to see it come up and challenge some of this stuff up here, like $1.15 or so. Right now, yeah, it's got a bit. We want to see it jump up above this level. It's got to. And once it does that, then we can start talking about setting up positions for further trades. C Pool. So this is Clearpool, a real world asset coin. It's been consolidating at a nice low price. That indicates to me it's time to back the truck up and take this one in, because this consolidation here, as it comes to a close, we'll likely see that average price around this 12-cent mark. And that's a good thing, because coming back up to the all-time high there that we saw in the fall last year, yeah, December 14th, actually, that all-time high is 365% away from here. So that'll be a nice little 3x. NPC not consolidating. We actually see a trend forming here, higher highs and higher lows, but we are at some point of resistance here at 1.7 cents. Yeah, we need to see a breakout. I would say a break even above that. I want to see a good clean break taking us up to 3 cents, to be honest. Once we see that, then I'll look for the retracement at this point here. Lastly, S&Px 6900. This one is consolidating at the moment, but it's consolidating at a fairly low price. So I would be dollar cost averaging my way down to the 40-cent level, even as low as the 25-cent level. Right now, well, it did form a new high here, we can see, but it didn't beat out the high from the 26th of March. So a little bit more left to go there. There we have it, folks. Our objective here is to help people identify the opportunities that are emerging as we head into this renaissance. And my invitation to you is to contact me at my website. I'm going to go ahead and unshare this here and bring up, right, and then banner, and this here. Oh, where did my... I can't find my little link. Oh, isn't that interesting? Can't find my link, but if you go to manknownaspaul.com, you'll find the contact page. And on that contact page, you can reach out to me. I thought for sure here we go. There's the website. You can go there and you can contact me. You can connect with me on YouTube, on X. You can instant message me there as well. And if you want to set up an appointment where you discover what opportunities are on your horizon as we head into this great recession, I'd love to show you what opportunities are available and how you can wildly profit through this as a pioneer of this fourth industrial revolution. Thank you, everybody, for having everybody have a good friggin' awesome day. Go out there and just have a good day. Calf jumped the fence and Audrey left. That's why she's not here anymore. Awesome. All right, I'm going to open up the call. Thanks a lot, everybody, and have a good day. When I say open up the call, I mean to the private members.